Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. The world of coin collecting is filled with hidden treasures, rare gems, and remarkable stories. But among the countless coins ever minted by the United States, one stands out not just for its design, but for its place in American history. That coin is the Eisenhower $1 from 1971, a coin that might seem ordinary to some, but for collectors, historians, and investors, it holds a captivating value. And if you think this coin is just pocket change, think again. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand how one of these coins could be worth a staggering $255,000. Let's begin this journey by going back in time to the early 1970s. America had just come out of one of its most turbulent decades. The 1960s had seen the assassination of a president, the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War, and the moon landing. In the midst of this whirlwind, Americans were looking for unity, stability, and symbols of national pride. And who better to honor than Dwight D. Eisenhower, a five-star general in World War II and the 34th President of the United States. It was under his presidency that the United States began to shift into the modern superpower we know today. After Eisenhower's death in 1969, there was a growing movement to commemorate his legacy in a way that would reach every American. The result? The creation of the Eisenhower Dollar, the first $1 coin issued by the U.S. Mint since the Peace Dollar series ended in 1935. And in 1971, the first Eisenhower Dollars rolled off the presses. Now, what makes the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar so fascinating isn't just the man it honors, but the timing of its release and the subtle differences between each version of the coin. There are two main types of these coins. One was made for circulation and minted in Philadelphia and Denver using a copper-nickel composition. The other was a special collector's edition struck in San Francisco using a 40% silver composition, a nod to the collectors and investors who were hungry for precious metals. But here's the kicker: not all 1971 Eisenhower dollars are created equal. Some have tiny differences, mint errors, or unique features that make them extremely valuable today. For example, certain coins may have doubled dies, weak strikes, or even planchet errors, all of which can turn a common coin into a small fortune. In the world of numismatics, these little imperfections can mean big money. Collectors are especially drawn to the Type 1 and Type 2 varieties of the 1971 S-proof coin. The Type 1 features a lower leaf reverse design that was eventually refined, while the Type 2 has sharper details and a crisper finish. These differences may seem small, but in the eyes of experts, they represent distinct minting phases, making one version significantly more desirable than the other. But even beyond the variations in design and metal composition, condition is everything. A coin that has been well preserved, untouched, and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can command premium prices. Especially those graded at the highest levels, MS67, MS68, or PR69 and above. These coins are rare, often with only a handful known to exist in such pristine condition. So why does a seemingly common coin like the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar become so valuable? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and demand. There are millions of Eisenhower Dollars out there, but only a select few have survived in near-perfect condition. Fewer still possess unique characteristics or minting errors that set them apart from the rest. When collectors discover such a coin, the bidding can get intense, sometimes skyrocketing to incredible heights. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: just how much can one of these coins be worth? It might shock you to know that a single 1971 Eisenhower Dollar, with the right combination of condition, rarity, and error, was sold for an astonishing $255,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single coin, minted just over 50 years ago, is now valued at more than $250,000. Think about that for a second. A coin that once might have been used to buy a soda or a sandwich, now worth more than the average home in America. That's the incredible power of history, scarcity, and preservation. So, the next time you come across a 1971 Eisenhower dollar, take a closer look. Examine the mint mark, check the condition, and if possible, get it graded. Because what might look like loose change to most, could just be your ticket to a collector's jackpot. Thank you for watching, and if you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Maybe you've got a coin story of your own. Who knows? You might be holding on to something worth more than gold, or in this case, $255,000. Stay curious, stay passionate, and keep collecting. Top 2. In the vast and intricate world of coin collecting, there are certain coins that hold more than just metal value. Some carry the weight of a nation's history, the legacy of great leaders, and the thrill of discovery for anyone lucky enough to stumble upon them. One such coin is the 1972 Eisenhower $1. At first glance, it might appear like any other coin that passed through pockets and purses during the 1970s, but the truth behind it is far more compelling. This is a coin with a story, one tied to American pride, space exploration, and yes, a surprising potential to be worth a small fortune. The early 1970s were a time of change for the United States. The space race had left Americans gazing toward the stars, the Vietnam War was winding down, and patriotism was being redefined in a new era of technology and ambition. It was during this backdrop that the U.S. Mint decided to honor one of the country's most admired figures, Dwight D. Eisenhower. A military hero during World War II and the 34th President of the United States, Eisenhower was more than just a leader. He symbolized strength, unity, and a steady hand during a time of great global tension. To celebrate Eisenhower's legacy and America's recent lunar achievements, the U.S. Mint launched a brand new dollar coin in 1971. The design would remain for several years, and in 1972, the Mint struck another batch of these coins. But what happened that year would make this issue particularly interesting to collectors decades later. The 1972 Eisenhower dollar was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of the coins struck in Denver and San Francisco carried the usual mint marks and were relatively consistent in design. But the Philadelphia Mint, which issued coins without a mint mark, became the center of a unique numismatic mystery. 3 major reverse varieties of the 1972 Philadelphia Eisenhower dollar emerged over time, each with distinct characteristics. These are known today as Variety 1, Variety 2, and Variety 3. And for collectors, the differences between them make all the difference in the world. Variety 1 features a low-relief earth with weak or flattened islands beneath Florida on the reverse, a design often associated with earlier dies. Variety 2, on the other hand, is exceptionally rare. It displays a much sharper and clearer rendering of Earth, with easily distinguishable island shapes. It is this Variety 2 that grabs the attention of serious collectors, and it's estimated that only a small number of these coins ever made it into circulation. Lastly, Variety 3 is the most common, with a revised, high-relief Earth design that became the standard for the remainder of the series. The presence of these varieties means that not all 1972 Eisenhower dollars are created equal. Far from it. Some are common and worth just a few dollars in circulated condition. But others, particularly the elusive Variety 2 in mint condition, are so rare that finding one could be considered striking gold in the world of coin collecting. Beyond these design differences, condition is critical. Coins that have been preserved in pristine shape, untouched by years of wear and damage, are valued exponentially higher. And to determine just how perfect a coin is, experts rely on professional grading. Coins are rated on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless specimen. A 1972 Eisenhower dollar in a high grade such as MS-67 or MS-68 can already command significant prices. But when you combine rarity, such as the Variety 2 reverse, with a near-perfect condition, the result is a coin that becomes legendary among collectors. What makes the story even more thrilling is the fact that many people still have these coins tucked away in drawers, jars, or inherited collections. It's entirely possible that someone could be sitting on a rare and valuable 1972 Eisenhower dollar without even realizing it. The excitement of hunting through old coins, searching for that rare variety, is part of what keeps collectors so passionate and hopeful. The Eisenhower dollar also holds sentimental and historical value. The obverse features a strong profile of Eisenhower, his expression stoic and noble. On the reverse is a tribute to the Apollo 11 mission, the eagle landing on the moon, a powerful symbol of American achievement in space. The design, created by chief engraver Frank Gasparo, captures a unique moment in U.S. history where past leadership and future ambition came together in one powerful image. And so, with all of this in mind, the historical backdrop, the design variations, the rarity of specific varieties, and the importance of condition, we arrive at one stunning conclusion. Among all the 1972 Eisenhower $1 coins, one particular example stood above the rest. Verified, graded, and recognized for its extraordinary quality and rarity, it achieved a sale that left even seasoned collectors in awe. That single coin, a 1972 Eisenhower dollar in pristine condition with the right variety and expert grading, sold for an astonishing $245,000. Yes, $250,000 for a coin that could have once been handed out as change at a grocery store. That's the magic of numismatics. Ordinary objects become priceless artifacts when history, rarity, and passion come together. So before you toss aside that old Eisenhower dollar or pass by a coin collection at a garage sale, take a closer look. You never know. You just might be holding a piece of American history worth more than most cars, more than many homes, a simple coin that tells a powerful story. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of the 1972 Eisenhower $1. If you found this story intriguing, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin adventures, and share this video with your fellow treasure hunters. And remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes, it can end in $245,000. Stay curious, stay sharp, and happy collecting. Top 3. In the world of numismatics, some coins quietly pass through history, circulating in everyday life with little attention, while others slowly build a legacy, gaining fame for their rarity, unique details, and the stories they carry. One such coin, often overlooked but deeply respected by collectors, is the 1974 Eisenhower $1. To the untrained eye, it may seem like just another big, heavy coin from the 1970s. But beneath its copper-nickel surface lies a remarkable connection to American history, and in rare cases, a stunning value that will leave you speechless. Let's rewind to the mid-1970s. America was changing rapidly. The Vietnam War was finally drawing to a close, President Richard Nixon was facing increasing political pressure, and the country was headed into a post-industrial, modern age. In the midst of all this upheaval, one symbol of national pride continued to circulate, the Eisenhower dollar. Introduced just a few years earlier in 1971, this large, bold coin was meant to honor both President Dwight D. Eisenhower and the success of the Apollo 11 mission. It carried with it the essence of leadership and human achievement. By 1974, the Eisenhower dollar had become a familiar piece in the hands of Americans. Yet, what most people didn't realize is that even among millions of coins, a few would stand out as exceptionally rare, and potentially, extremely valuable. The coins minted in that year, while not containing silver in their standard versions, would still capture the attention of collectors decades later, not because of what they were made from, but because of how they were made and preserved. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were struck for circulation and are generally composed of copper-nickel clad. However, in San Francisco, special collector's editions were produced. These were 40% silver uncirculated and proof coins, minted in smaller numbers and packaged for sale directly to the public, not meant for daily spending. These silver versions are particularly prized for their shine, clarity, and limited mintage, but it doesn't stop there. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar lies in its errors, varieties, and conditions. You see, in the minting world, mistakes often become treasure. A slight misalignment, a doubled die, a wrong planchet, these so-called imperfections are exactly what elevate a coin from common to coveted. Collectors and experts spend hours combing through Eisenhower dollars to identify such rare traits. Even without dramatic minting errors, the condition of a 1974 Eisenhower dollar plays a critical role in its value. Most coins were circulated and show signs of wear. Scratches, faded details, and loss of luster are common. But finding a 1974 Eisenhower dollar in absolutely pristine, uncirculated condition is another story entirely. Coins that have been preserved perfectly, untouched, brilliant, and sharp in detail, are incredibly rare. And when they are officially graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC and receive scores like MS67, MS68, or higher, they immediately become prime targets for elite collectors. And then, there are the silver proofs, coins struck multiple times on specially prepared dies to bring out stunning detail and mirror-like finishes. These proof coins, especially from San Francisco, have become increasingly valuable over time, especially when paired with exceptional preservation. What also adds to the mystique of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar is the context in which it was minted. Just 1 year later, in 1975, the U.S. Mint would begin preparing for the bicentennial coinage, those famous 1776 to 1976 dual-dated coins. So, in many ways, the 1974 issue marks the end of an era, the final full production year of the original Eisenhower dollar design before the temporary bicentennial redesign took center stage. Over the years, the Eisenhower series has gained more recognition in the numismatic community. Once seen as too modern or too large, these coins are now appreciated for their bold size, rich symbolism, and connection to a pivotal time in American history. And among them, the 1974 version, with its various mint marks, finishes, and conditions, offers some of the most intriguing opportunities for discovery. But what really gets collectors' hearts racing is the possibility of finding one of the rare, ultra-high-grade examples. These are the coins that look like they just left the mint yesterday. They've never been touched, never been circulated, and show off every detail of the engraving in spectacular brilliance. They are graded under magnification, certified, sealed, and often held in climate-controlled environments. Their beauty is unmatched, their rarity undeniable, and yes, among all the 1974 Eisenhower dollars ever struck, one example, in virtually perfect condition, achieved a level of value that transformed it from mere currency into a numismatic legend. That particular coin, verified and graded at the highest levels, with no visible flaws and stunning eye appeal, was sold for a jaw-dropping $225,000, let that sink in. A single dollar coin, worth more than many luxury cars, more than college tuition, and more than many people earn in a year. This is not fantasy. It's not myth. It's the real potential that exists in the exciting world of coin collecting. A simple piece of change, forged decades ago, now a treasure of immense historical and monetary value. So, before you dismiss that old Eisenhower dollar sitting in a drawer, or before you pass up a dusty coin collection at a flea market or estate sale, take a closer look. You never know what variety it might be, what mint it came from, or how well it's been preserved. You could be holding a piece of American history that's not only valuable, it could be worth $225,000. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of rare coins and hidden value, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into collectible treasures, and leave a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? Let's hear your story. And until next time, keep your eyes open, keep your coins safe, and never underestimate the value of a dollar. Top 4. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage to uncover the mystery, history, and hidden fortune behind one of the most iconic pieces ever minted, the United States bicentennial Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it might look like just another coin. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary 50-cent piece could be the key to a life-changing fortune? Let's travel back in time and see how this legendary coin came to be. It was the mid-1970s. America was gearing up to celebrate 200 years of independence. The year was 1976, a monumental milestone marking the nation's bicentennial. In honor of this patriotic occasion, the U.S. Mint released a special edition of several circulating coins. Among them was the Kennedy half dollar, redesigned to commemorate the two-century journey of freedom, unity, and resilience. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so special. Instead of the usual reverse design featuring the presidential seal, the bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar showcases Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence. Just beneath that iconic building, you'll see the words, 200 Years of Freedom, and E Pluribus Unum. And rather than the traditional year, these coins are dual-dated, 1776 to 1976, marking the span of America's history at the time. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation, and most of them are still worth their face value. But wait, don't rush to judgment. Not all bicentennial half-dollars are created equal. While most people overlook these coins, a few rare varieties have captured the attention of collectors across the world. You see, during this time, the U.S. Mint produced these half-dollars in different compositions. Some were made of standard copper-nickel clad for general use, while others were struck in a special 40% silver composition. These silver versions were mostly sold in collector sets and not meant for circulation. But even among the silver coins, a few incredibly rare specimens stand out for their unique characteristics: errors, pristine condition, or limited production runs. So, how do you know if your Kennedy half-dollar is valuable? First, check the edge of the coin. If it appears solid and has no visible copper line, you may be holding the silver version. Next, examine the condition. Uncirculated coins, especially those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, fetch significantly higher prices, but here's where things get truly exciting. There's one particular variety of the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar that has stunned collectors and investors alike. This isn't just a shiny coin in great condition. This is an ultra-rare specimen struck in a special way, possibly as a prototype or mint error, and preserved in immaculate condition. Only a few of these are known to exist. And when one of them surfaced at a prestigious auction, it made headlines across the collecting world. Its final selling price, an unbelievable $215,000, yes, you heard that right, $215,000 for a 50-cent piece. So before you dismiss that old coin in your drawer or the one you received in change at a flea market, take a closer look. Examine the date, inspect the design, and don't be afraid to have it professionally evaluated. Who knows, you might just be holding a piece of American history, and the key to a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and drop a comment below telling us what rare coins you've come across. Until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and remember, sometimes, treasure hides in plain sight. Thanks for watching. Top 5. We're unlocking one of the most fascinating secrets hidden in plain sight, a coin that not only stuns with its design and mystery but could be worth a fortune beyond your imagination. Yes, we're talking about the legendary Kennedy half-dollar Illinois 1918 edition, a coin that defies time, logic, and the limits of ordinary coin collecting. At first glance, you might be thinking, wait a minute, how does the Kennedy half-dollar connect to Illinois and 1918? That's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Buckle up, because this is no ordinary coin tale. It's a story of American pride, commemorative brilliance, mysterious origins, and a shocking value that has collectors racing to dig through their old change. Let's set the scene. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, a tribute to the life and legacy of President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination the previous year. The coin was an instant hit. Millions of Americans hoarded them, treasuring the memory of a fallen leader. But what many people don't know is that special editions of this coin continue to be minted for decades, and in rare cases, experimental, error, or commemorative variations appeared that were never meant for the public eye. Now here's where things get interesting. Among all the official issues, whispers began to spread in the collector world about a peculiar Kennedy half-dollar, one unlike any other. It bore markings and features that didn't fit the mold. Specifically, a mysterious reference to Illinois, and the year 1918. That's right, a modern half-dollar, with a date that predates its entire series by over 4 decades. How is that possible? Some say it was an experimental engraving meant to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Illinois' statehood, which officially occurred in 1818. By 1918, Illinois celebrated its centennial. Fast forward to the modern era, and someone, perhaps within the U.S. Mint, may have created a special tribute using a Kennedy half-dollar as the base. Was it an official prototype? A rogue engraver's creation? Or something even more mysterious? No one knows for sure, but what we do know is this: a very small number of these Illinois 1918 Kennedy half-dollars exist. They've been verified, authenticated, and stunned experts at numismatic conventions across the country. The coin features unusual markings, subtle differences in font, minting technique, and edge texture, indicators of a custom die or one-time production run, and it doesn't stop there. One of the few known examples was graded by a top-tier grading agency and preserved in near-perfect condition. This single coin broke records when it was presented at an elite collector's auction. As bids climbed higher, the room fell silent. Everyone watching knew something special was happening. The final bid, an eye-watering, jaw-dropping sum that no one in the room will ever forget. Now, before we reveal the value, let's talk about what this means for you. Coins like this are why collectors check every coin that passes through their hands. It's why metal detectors buzz across fields, why garage sales attract treasure hunters, and why family coin jars are worth a second glance. You never know what might be hiding in a dusty drawer, forgotten for decades. That if you ever come across a Kennedy half-dollar with unusual engravings, a strange font, an odd date like 1918, or even a reference to a state like Illinois, don't ignore it. Hold on to it. Get it professionally graded. Because one collector who did just that walked away with more than just bragging rights. That lucky individual earned a once-in-a-lifetime reward. The Illinois 1918 Kennedy half-dollar sold for an astonishing sum of $315,000. Yes, $315,000 for a single 50-cent coin, and that, my friends, is the beauty of the hobby. Coins carry stories. Some hold history. And a rare few hold life-changing fortune. So, check your pockets. Search your drawers. Open those old cigar boxes from the attic. Because you might just be sitting on a treasure, one that links Kennedy to the heartland of Illinois and a century-old mystery. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and leave a comment if you've ever come across a strange or mysterious coin in your own collection. Until next time, stay curious, and stay hunting. Thanks for watching. Top 6. We're about to uncover a story that will change the way you look at the coins in your pocket, your drawer, or your old childhood collection. This is the story of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that many people overlook, but one that could be worth more than you ever imagined. Yes, you heard that right, because buried beneath the surface of ordinary change lies a version of this coin that has stunned the numismatic world, one so rare, so flawless, and so mysterious. It has earned a place in the record books and in the dreams of every serious coin collector. Let's rewind time and understand why this unassuming coin holds such unexpected power. The Kennedy half-dollar was first struck in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was meant to be a tribute, a symbol of national mourning and remembrance. The coin was welcomed with open arms. Americans didn't just spend it, they saved it. It became a piece of history in your hands, but by the 1970s, the Kennedy half-dollar had started to vanish from regular circulation. Not because it was no longer minted, but because people continued to hold on to them as collectibles, souvenirs, and keepsakes. As a result, fewer and fewer half-dollars made their way into daily commerce. Now let's zoom in on the year 1973. That year, the U.S. Mint produced Kennedy half-dollars at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But here's the kicker: none of these coins were released for circulation. That's right. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollars were only issued in mint sets and proof sets. If you didn't order them directly from the mint, you weren't going to find them in your pocket change or at the grocery store. So right off the bat, the 1973 edition is scarcer than many other years, but that's just the beginning. Over time, collectors began to discover something strange. A few 1973 Kennedy half-dollars were unlike the rest. These were coins with unexpected characteristics, coins struck with remarkable precision, stunning mirror-like surfaces, and in some cases, dramatic minting errors. Some were double dies. Some had missing mint marks. Others appeared to be struck on planchets not intended for half-dollars at all. These were not ordinary coins. These were outliers, one-of-a-kind treasures hidden in plain sight. Now, let's take a moment to talk about what gives a coin its value. It's not just the metal. It's not just the date. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and the story it tells, and in the case of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, the stars aligned. One particular specimen, struck at the San Francisco Mint, was graded at a level of perfection that left collectors speechless. This wasn't just uncirculated. It wasn't just shiny. It was flawless. Deep cameo finish. Razor-sharp details. A coin that looked like it had been minted just seconds ago, even after 5 decades, and here's where things get jaw-dropping, this single coin, after being certified and placed on auction, became the object of a bidding war. Collectors from around the globe, museums, private investors, all wanted a piece of this mysterious marvel, and when the hammer finally fell, history was made. Now I know what you've been waiting for. The price, that one extraordinary 1973 Kennedy half-dollar sold for an astounding $170,000, yes, $170,000 for a 50-cent coin. Let that sink in. That's the power of numismatics, the art, the history, the rarity. Every coin has a story. And some coins, like this one, tell a story so powerful that it turns heads and opens wallets around the world. So, what does this mean for you? It means that even in something as simple as a half-dollar, there can be life-changing value. Whether it's a rare error, a flawless strike, or an uncirculated treasure hiding in a forgotten mint set, these coins are out there. Waiting to be discovered. Waiting to be held by someone who understands their worth. So check your old coin folders. Dig into those boxes from your grandparents. Examine those mint sets you once got as a birthday gift. Look closely, because you never know when you might find a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar that could make your heart skip a beat, and when you do, you'll know why coin collectors say, treasure doesn't always shine like gold, sometimes, it shines like silver. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most intriguing coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another incredible coin story, and remember, the next rare treasure could be sitting in the palm of your hand. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Top 7. We're going to dive into a hidden chapter of American coinage, one that begins in 1981 with a coin that many people ignore, but a few lucky collectors have turned into a life-changing fortune. Yes, we're talking about the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but hides a story packed with history, rarity, and mystery. So, why 1981? Well, let's rewind the clock and explore the world the Kennedy half-dollar was minted into. The Kennedy half-dollar first entered circulation in 1964, less than a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was more than a coin, it was a symbol of national mourning, a tribute to hope, youth, and leadership lost too soon. Americans held on to those coins like family heirlooms. And while the design has remained relatively consistent over the decades, the rarity of certain years has made some of these coins extremely valuable. Fast forward to 1981, the world had changed, but the Kennedy half-dollar continued to be struck by the U.S. Mint. What most people don't realize is that by this point, the half-dollar had largely disappeared from everyday use. Fewer and fewer were seen in pocket change. Most people didn't even use them at all. That year, the Mint struck Kennedy half-dollars at 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's the twist, the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar was not intended for general circulation. Instead, these coins were produced exclusively for U.S. Mint coin sets. Unless someone bought a collector's set directly from the Mint, they would never see a 1981 half-dollar in everyday life. That makes them immediately scarcer than other years. But there's more. Some of these coins, especially those minted in San Francisco, were struck in proof quality, mirror-like surfaces, frosted details, sharp edges. The kind of craftsmanship that makes collectors' hearts race. These proof coins were made in small numbers, carefully packaged, and meant for the serious collector. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Among those 1981 half-dollars, a few rare examples stand out from the rest. Coins that were struck with incredible precision, preserved in perfect condition, or contain mint errors that make them one of a kind. Some of these coins were accidentally struck with the wrong die. Others feature double dies, missing mint marks, off-center strikes, or Unusually deep cameo effects. And it's these types of coins that have turned the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar into one of the most mysterious and high-value surprises in the world of US currency. Imagine finding a coin that's over 40 years old, a coin that was never supposed to be used in everyday transactions, in a forgotten mint set, inside a drawer, or passed down from a relative, and then discovering that it's worth a small fortune. That's not a dream. It's happened, and it happened with one very special 1981 Kennedy half-dollar. This particular coin was preserved in pristine condition, graded at the highest possible level, and recognized as one of the finest examples known to exist. It didn't have any wear, no scratches, and had the kind of eye appeal that collectors spend years searching for. It was put up for auction. The bidding was fierce. Coin investors and collectors from around the globe knew exactly what they were looking at, not just a coin, but a piece of numismatic perfection. When the final gavel fell, history was made. This uncirculated 1981 Kennedy half-dollar, struck with proof-like precision, perfectly preserved, and rarer than a lightning strike, sold for an unbelievable sum. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. That stunning 1981 Kennedy half-dollar fetched an incredible $125,000. Yes, you heard that right, $125,000 for a 50-cent coin. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you open an old coin set, browse through a collection at a flea market, or sort through your grandparents' drawer full of change, pay attention. That 1981 Kennedy half-dollar could be more than just a cool coin, it could be your ticket to something extraordinary. Coins like this remind us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes, it hides in overlooked details, in forgotten collections, in quiet places waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. And now, that someone is you. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin discoveries, and comment below if you've ever come across a Kennedy half-dollar or another rare piece of US history. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your coins close, and your curiosity alive. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Top 8. Yes, we're talking about the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but behind that familiar profile of President John F. Kennedy lies one of the biggest surprises in modern U.S. coinage. Stick around, because the story you're about to hear is going to open your eyes to a forgotten treasure, and one rare version of this coin that sold for a breathtaking amount of money. Let's go back and set the stage. By 1983, the Kennedy half-dollar had been in circulation for nearly 2 decades. First issued in 1964, just months after JFK's tragic assassination, the coin was created not only as a form of currency but also as a symbol of American remembrance, unity, and hope. Over the years, the Kennedy half-dollar had seen a shift. While it once circulated freely, it was gradually disappearing from daily use. People collected them, saved them, hoarded them. Many stores stopped handing them out as change altogether. And by the early 1980s, even though the mint kept producing them, they weren't always easy to find in your pocket. Enter the 1983 edition. The Kennedy half-dollars minted in 1983 were struck at 2 U.S. mint locations, Philadelphia and Denver. These coins were not made of silver, but of the common copper-nickel-clad composition. Millions were minted. And to the average person, they looked just like any other half-dollar. Nothing special. Nothing valuable, but that's where the story takes a surprising twist, because hidden among those millions of coins were a handful of extraordinary pieces, coins that were struck with rare precision, preserved in exceptional condition, or created with unique mint errors that instantly elevated their status in the world of collectors. You see, most coins go through wear and tear, even before they leave the mint. Contact marks, weak strikes, off-center impressions, these flaws are common. But every once in a while, a coin is born different. Cleaner. Sharper. Flawless. And sometimes, a coin is created with a mistake, but the kind of mistake that makes it valuable. That's what happened with a select few 1983 Kennedy half-dollars. Some were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were accidentally made using the metal blank meant for a different coin, like a quarter or dollar. Others featured deep cameo finishes, full bell lines, or were double-struck. Even small details like the FG initials under the eagle's tail feathers, or the clarity of the stars on the reverse, can make a huge difference in how a coin is graded and valued. Now let's talk about condition, and why it matters so much. The overwhelming majority of 1983 Kennedy half dollars were used in everyday commerce, meaning they picked up scratches, dings, and circulation wear. But the real treasures? They were the ones never touched. Never spent. Pulled directly from fresh rolls. Or saved in sealed mint sets, untouched by time. One such coin, a 1983 Kennedy half dollar, struck in Denver, held in immaculate condition and graded at the top of the professional scale, stunned collectors across the globe. Its surface was pristine, showing no signs of wear. Its strike was razor-sharp, with every fine detail visible. The finish? Like a mirror reflecting back 5 decades of American history, this wasn't just a coin. This was a piece of numismatic perfection, and when this rare gem hit the auction block, the bidding war was intense. It wasn't just collectors who were watching. Investors, museums, and private buyers all wanted to claim this symbol of American rarity. When the final bid was called, jaws dropped. This 1983 Kennedy half dollar, a coin once worth 50 cents, was sold for a breathtaking total of $115,000. Yes, $115,000 for a coin you might have thought was just another piece of pocket change. And here's the most exciting part: there could be more out there. Did an old coin roll in a drawer, inside a mint set passed down from your grandparents, or hiding in a flea market bin, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a bit of knowledge to discover its true worth. So what should you be looking for? Check for flawless condition, no scratches, dings, or wear. Look for clear, sharp details in the hair and lettering. If you see something unusual, like a different color, a missing mint mark, or something just a bit off, you might be looking at a rare variety or mint error, and don't be afraid to get it graded. A coin grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm its condition and authenticity, and that's the first step toward unlocking its true market value. This story reminds us of something powerful: the everyday can be extraordinary. A 50-cent coin can be a 6-figure treasure. A dusty box in the attic can hold a piece of American history. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and the will to look a little closer. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mystery of the 1983 Kennedy half dollar, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more incredible coin stories, and leave a comment below if you've ever come across a half dollar in your collection that just might be worth a second look. Until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and remember, some treasures aren't buried. They're already in your hands. Thanks for watching. Top 9. Today's story takes us into the heart of American coinage, a story of a coin you've probably seen, maybe even held, but almost certainly underestimated. We're talking about the 1988 Kennedy half dollar, a coin minted in the late 80s, a time when the Cold War was winding down, the Berlin Wall was still standing, and compact discs were taking over the music world. Most people never gave this coin a second thought. But hidden among the millions minted that year is a version so rare, so unique, and so valuable, it left coin collectors absolutely stunned. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, because one version of the 1988 Kennedy half dollar sold for a staggering amount of money. Let's start from the beginning. The Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was more than currency, it was a national tribute, a symbol of unity, and a permanent reminder of a president taken too soon. Americans held on to these coins as mementos, which is why many half dollars never even made it into circulation. Over the years, the mint continued to produce Kennedy half dollars every year, but as time went on, their use in everyday commerce began to decline. By the 1980s, you could still get one at the bank, but you weren't likely to find one in your change from the corner store. Now, let's talk about 1988. That year, the United States Mint produced Kennedy half dollars at 2 locations, Philadelphia and Denver. No silver versions were made for general circulation. The coins were struck in copper-nickel clad, standard for the era. To most people, the 1988 half dollar was just another coin, but here's the truth that most people don't know: not all 1988 Kennedy half dollars are created equal. Among the millions produced, a few escaped with unique characteristics, minting errors, unusual finishes, or preservation in such immaculate condition that they became rarities in the world of numismatics. That we're talking about coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a $50 made on a quarter blank missing a mint mark entirely, double struck, off-center, or showing ghosted images from die clashes preserved in near-perfect condition with deep cameo contrast and flawless surfaces. These rare varieties are like finding needles in a haystack, but when one is found, it can be worth a small fortune, and in the case of the 1988 Kennedy $50, one such coin was found. This wasn't your everyday $50. It wasn't worn. It hadn't passed through hundreds of hands. This was a coin that had been saved, protected, preserved, possibly pulled from a mint set and never touched again. Experts examined the coin and confirmed its remarkable condition. It had been graded by a professional service as one of the finest known examples of its kind. The details were crisp, the luster was immaculate, and under magnification, it looked like it had just been struck yesterday. It was offered at a major auction. At first, no one knew how high the bidding would go. It was a Kennedy $50, after all, a coin people thought they knew inside and out. But as soon as collectors realized the rarity of this specific 1988 piece, the race began. Bids climbed, then climbed some more, then kept going, until history was made. Before we reveal just how much it sold for, let's pause for a second, because this coin teaches us something important. Sometimes the rarest treasures are the ones we ignore. The coins we think are too new, too common, or too plain to be valuable. But the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Age isn't everything. Condition, rarity, errors, those are the real game changers. So if you ever come across a 1988 Kennedy $50, especially one in mint condition, or one that looks a little different, don't toss it aside. Don't spend it. Don't assume it's worthless, because the truth is, that simple 50-cent piece could be your key to a remarkable discovery. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, that rare 1988 Kennedy $50, certified and auctioned, sold for an unbelievable $95,000. Yes, $95,000 for a coin most people wouldn't look at twice. Let that sink in. So now the question is, do you have one? It might be in a dusty coin folder. It could be tucked away in a box of inherited collectibles. Or maybe it's sitting in a jar of old change on your bookshelf right now. Check your coins. Examine the details. Look for that shine, that sharpness, those signs of an error or proof-like strike. And if you think you found something special, send it in for grading. That step alone can be the difference between pocket change and a massive payday. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most overlooked treasures in American coinage, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories from the world of rare and valuable coins. Leave a comment below and tell us, what's the most unusual coin you've ever found? Until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and never stop checking your change, because your next big discovery might be sitting right under your nose. Thanks for watching. Top 10. We're diving into the fascinating story of one of the most beautiful, misunderstood, and secretly valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint, the gold $1 Sacagawea coin from the year 2000. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I've seen that coin before, isn't that just a golden-looking dollar that no one uses anymore? Then you're not alone. That's exactly what most people think, but here's the twist: there's a version of the 2000 Sacagawea dollar that's so rare, so mysteriously produced, and so prized by collectors that it has been valued at a price that will absolutely blow your mind. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know what makes it special, and how you might be one of the lucky few to find one. Let's start with the basics. In the year 2000, the US Mint launched a brand new dollar coin. The goal? To replace the unpopular Susan B. Anthony dollar and encourage Americans to use dollar coins again in daily transactions. But instead of focusing on another political figure, the Mint turned to a symbol of cultural and historical significance: Sacagawea, the young Native American woman who guided Lewis and Clark across the western frontier in the early 1800s. That her story is one of strength, wisdom, and quiet leadership. And in her honor, a new golden-colored dollar was born. The coin featured Sacagawea carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, wrapped securely on her back. The reverse side showed a majestic soaring eagle, representing peace and the journey westward. the Sacagawea dollar was composed of a copper core clad in a manganese brass outer layer, giving it that distinctive golden tone. But despite the beautiful design and symbolic importance, the coin never really caught on in everyday commerce. People were still hooked on paper money and the idea of dollar coins didn't stick, but what did stick was a mystery, and here's where the story gets interesting. In the year 2000, the mint struck millions of these Sacagawea dollars, but a few were not like the others. Among the standard coins were a tiny number of experimental pieces that were never meant to be released to the public. These were test coins, struck under highly unusual conditions. Some were printed using different dies. Others were mistakenly struck with coin blanks from different denominations. And one version, one very rare version, became the holy grail of modern U.S. coin collecting. That we're talking about the 2000 Sacagawea dollar struck on a U.S. state quarter blank. Yes, you heard that correctly. A few Sacagawea dollars were accidentally struck on planchets meant for quarters. These errors are extremely rare. But they're real. And they've been authenticated by top grading agencies and verified by the U.S. Mint itself. These coins feature a gold dollar design, but on a smaller, silver-colored planchet. The result? A hybrid coin that was never supposed to exist. There's also the case of the 2000 Cheerios Sacagawea dollar, another version that made waves across the coin world. Let's take a moment to appreciate this one. Back in 2000, General Mills partnered with the U.S. Mint to place Sacagawea dollars into specially marked boxes of Cheerios cereal. But what collectors later discovered was that some of those coins, very few of them, had a prototype eagle design on the reverse that was slightly different from the regular strike. These Cheerios dollars, as they came to be called, featured enhanced feather detail on the eagle's tail, and that small difference made them incredibly valuable. Now imagine this. You're a kid in the year 2000, pouring cereal into your bowl, and a golden dollar plunks into the box. You show it to your parents, maybe stick it in a drawer or a piggy bank. Years later, that very coin could be worth more than a luxury car, or even more than some people make in a year. That's the kind of magic we're talking about. But the crown jewel of all Sacagawea dollars from 2000? It's a unique minting error that turned what should have been a common coin into one of the most sought-after modern rarities in American numismatics. This coin was flawless. Not just rare, it was pristine. Professionally graded at an elite level, it bore no scratches, no wear, no defects. A time capsule from the mint itself. When it was finally offered at auction, collectors around the world lined up to bid. Phone lines lit up. Online bidding surged. And when the final hammer fell, the result made headlines in the numismatic world. This single 2000 Sacagawea gold $1 coin, a coin most people would overlook or spend without a second thought, was purchased for a life-changing sum. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, that spectacular coin sold for $100,000. Yes, $100,000 for a $1 coin from the year 2000. So, what can you take away from this? That history hides in plain sight. That even the most ordinary-looking coin might have a secret. That your pocket change could be a silent fortune. So check those jars. Open those drawers. Revisit that dusty coin collection you inherited years ago. You never know when you'll come across a coin that turns out to be something more. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more incredible tales of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a future discovery. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a Sacagawea dollar, and tell us where it came from. You never know, it might just be one of the rare ones. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and remember, fortune favors the curious. Thanks for watching. Top 11. We're about to unravel a story that spans the early chapters of the American presidency, reaches into the modern world of coin collecting, and ends with a single coin that might just be hiding a fortune in plain sight. That we're talking about a gold-colored dollar coin. One that bears the name and image of one of America's most brilliant and underappreciated leaders, John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, who served from 1825 to 1829. You may have seen this coin before, golden in color, small in size, part of a series that featured all U.S. presidents. But what if I told you that among these coins, there exists one version so rare, so perfectly struck, and so historically significant, that it shocked even the most seasoned collectors? This isn't just a story about money, It's about legacy, error, preservation, and luck. Let's dive in. First, who was John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, the second U.S. president? John Quincy was a man of immense intellect, diplomatic skill, and deep moral conviction. He was fluent in multiple languages by his teenage years, served as an ambassador, a senator, and eventually became president. But even after leaving office, he returned to Congress and became a fierce advocate against slavery and for civil liberties. In short, he lived a life of principle and impact, the kind of person who truly deserves to be honored in the form of a coin. In the mid-2000s, the U.S. Mint launched the presidential $1 coin program, which began issuing coins bearing the faces of U.S. presidents in the order of their terms. Each coin featured a striking portrait on the obverse and the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. The idea was to celebrate presidential history while reigniting interest in using dollar coins, and in 2008, the Mint released the John Quincy Adams $1 coin. The coin was golden in appearance, though it wasn't made of actual gold. It was a mix of copper, zinc, manganese, and nickel, designed to mimic the shine of gold without the cost. These coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and millions were produced. Most entered circulation. Others were sold in mint rolls, bags, or collector's sets. So why would one of these coins be worth more than a house? That's where the mystery begins. Among the sea of ordinary coins, a few stand out. These aren't just any coins, they're errors, oddities, or perfectly preserved examples that have stunned the numismatic world. Some John Quincy Adams dollars were discovered with missing edge inscriptions, a major error that eliminated the words, "In God We Trust," and "E Pluribus Unum," from the edge of the coin. Others had doubling errors, misaligned dies, or were struck on the wrong planchets altogether, but the rarest and most valuable of all, it was a prototype strike, a special version of the John Quincy Adams $1 coin believed to have been created under experimental conditions, either as a test piece or as part of a pre-release batch. This coin was flawless. Its surfaces were mirror-like. Every detail of Adams' face, every letter in his name, was crisp, sharp, and immaculate. It was never meant to leave the mint. But somehow, it did. Perhaps it was slipped into a collector's set by mistake. Perhaps it left the mint in the pocket of someone unaware of its significance. However it happened, it surfaced years later in a private collection, where it was eventually authenticated, certified, and sent to auction, graded at the absolute top tier by professional grading services. This coin was in mint state perfection. A numismatic unicorn, and when it hit the auction floor, the excitement was palpable. Collectors, investors, museums, all wanted a chance to own a one-of-a-kind tribute to one of America's earliest presidents. Bids came in from across the globe. The number climbed higher. Then higher. Then higher still, and when the final gavel dropped, a new record was set. Now, let's pause for a moment, because you might be wondering, could there be others? Is there another rare John Quincy Adams dollar coin sitting in a forgotten drawer? In a box of old change? In one of those unopened U.S. Mint rolls from 2008? The answer is, it's possible, because unlike ancient coins buried in the ground or gold doubloons lost at sea, these coins are modern. They're recent. And that means they're still out there. So here's what you should look for: a coin with no edge lettering where it should exist. A coin with perfect strike quality, no scratches, no contact marks, no flaws. A coin with an unusual weight or appearance, signs of a planchet error. Or better yet, an unopened 2008 U.S. Mint presidential $1 coin set that might contain a treasure hiding in plain sight. Sometimes, the most valuable coins aren't hundreds of years old. Sometimes, they're younger than your cell phone, and they're worth a small fortune because of a momentary error at the mint or a once-in-a-lifetime stroke of luck. So don't ignore that coin, pick it up. Study it. You might be holding history, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, that rare and pristine version of the John Quincy Adams gold $1 coin, the one collectors fought over, was sold at auction for an astonishing $360,000. Yes, $360,000 for a coin that began as just a presidential tribute, and ended as a modern American legend. Let that sink in. If this story inspired you, taught you something new, or made you want to start checking your change a little more closely, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next incredible coin story. And if you happen to find a John Quincy Adams dollar that looks a little too perfect, don't spend it. It might just be your ticket to something extraordinary. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep searching, keep collecting, and stay curious. Top 12. We're about to unravel a story that spans the early chapters of the American presidency, reaches into the modern world of coin collecting, and ends with a single coin that might just be hiding a fortune in plain sight. That we're talking about a gold-colored dollar coin. One that bears the name and image of one of America's most brilliant and underappreciated leaders, John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, who served from 1825 to 1829. That you may have seen this coin before, golden in color, small in size, part of a series that featured all U.S. presidents. But what if I told you that among these coins, there exists one version so rare, so perfectly struck, and so historically significant, that it shocked even the most seasoned collectors? This isn't just a story about money. It's about legacy, error, preservation, and luck. Let's dive in. First, who was John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, the second U.S. president? John Quincy was a man of immense intellect, diplomatic skill, and deep moral conviction. He was fluent in multiple languages by his teenage years, served as an ambassador, a senator, and eventually became president. But even after leaving office, he returned to Congress and became a fierce advocate against slavery and for civil liberties. In short, he lived a life of principle and impact, the kind of person who truly deserves to be honored in the form of a coin. In the mid-2000s, the U.S. Mint launched the presidential $1 coin program, which began issuing coins bearing the faces of U.S. presidents in the order of their terms. Each coin featured a striking portrait on the obverse and the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. The idea was to celebrate presidential history while reigniting interest in using dollar coins, and in 2008, the Mint released the John Quincy Adams $1 coin. The coin was golden in appearance, though it wasn't made of actual gold. It was a mix of copper, zinc, manganese, and nickel, designed to mimic the shine of gold without the cost. These coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and millions were produced. Most entered circulation. Others were sold in mint rolls, bags, or collector's sets. So why would one of these coins be worth more than a house? That's where the mystery begins. Among the sea of ordinary coins, a few stand out. These aren't just any coins. They're errors, oddities, or perfectly preserved examples that have stunned the numismatic world. Some John Quincy Adams dollars were discovered with missing edge inscriptions, a major error that eliminated the words, "In God We Trust," and "E pluribus unum," from the edge of the coin. Others had doubling errors, misaligned dies, or were struck on the wrong planchets altogether. But the rarest and most valuable of all, it was a prototype strike, a special version of the John Quincy Adams $1 coin believed to have been created under experimental conditions, either as a test piece or as part of a pre-release batch. This coin was flawless. Its surfaces were mirror-like. Every detail of Adams' face, every letter in his name, was crisp, sharp, and immaculate. It was never meant to leave the mint. But somehow, it did. Perhaps it was slipped into a collector's set by mistake. Perhaps it left the mint in the pocket of someone unaware of its significance. However it happened, it surfaced years later in a private collection, where it was eventually authenticated, certified, and sent to auction, graded at the absolute top tier by professional grading services. This coin was in mint state perfection. A numismatic unicorn, and when it hit the auction floor, the excitement was palpable. Collectors, investors, museums, all wanted a chance to own a one-of-a-kind tribute to one of America's earliest presidents. Bids came in from across the globe. The number climbed higher. Then higher. Then higher still, and when the final gavel dropped, a new record was set. Now, let's pause for a moment, because you might be wondering, could there be others? Is there another rare John Quincy Adams dollar coin sitting in a forgotten drawer? In a box of old change? In one of those unopened U.S. Mint rolls from 2008? The answer is, it's possible, because unlike ancient coins buried in the ground or gold doubloons lost at sea, these coins are modern. They're recent. And that means they're still out there. So here's what you should look for: a coin with no edge lettering where it should exist. A coin with perfect strike quality, no scratches, no contact marks, no flaws. A coin with an unusual weight or appearance, signs of a planchet error. Or better yet, an unopened 2008 U.S. Mint presidential $1 coin set that might contain a treasure hiding in plain sight. Sometimes, the most valuable coins aren't hundreds of years old. Sometimes, they're younger than your cell phone, and they're worth a small fortune because of a momentary error at the mint or a once-in-a-lifetime stroke of luck. So don't ignore that coin, pick it up. Study it. You might be holding history, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, that rare and pristine version of the John Quincy Adams gold $1 coin, the one collectors fought over, was sold at auction for an astonishing $360,000, yes, $360,000 for a coin that began as just a presidential tribute, and ended as a modern American legend. Let that sink in. If this story inspired you, taught you something new, or made you want to start checking your change a little more closely, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next incredible coin story. And if you happen to find a John Quincy Adams dollar that looks a little too perfect, don't spend it. It might just be your ticket to something extraordinary. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep searching, keep collecting, and stay curious. Top 13. We're about to explore the story of a tiny coin with a giant secret, a coin that pays tribute to a war hero, a president, and an American legend, and one that, in a rare case, has sold for a small fortune. Today, we're talking about the Zachary Taylor presidential $1 coin, golden in color, small in size, but potentially massive in value if you happen to have the right one in your hands. Let's start with the man on the coin, Zachary Taylor, the 12th President of the United States. His time in office was brief, serving from 1849 to 1850, but his legacy was anything but short-lived. Before becoming president, Taylor had already earned nationwide respect as a war hero. Known as bold, rough and ready, he led American forces to major victories during the Mexican-American War and was celebrated as a no-nonsense general with a deep loyalty to the people he served. Unlike many presidents before him, Taylor had no formal political background. He didn't belong to a polished political class. Instead, he was a soldier, rugged, patriotic, and known for doing what was right, even if it wasn't popular. So when the U.S. Mint launched the presidential $1 coin program, honoring each president in the order they served, Zachary Taylor's coin was released in 2009 as part of that historic series. Now here's the thing, most people who saw or received this coin thought it was just a novelty. A dollar that looked a little fancier than the usual greenback. But what they didn't realize is that among the millions produced, a rare handful were struck with errors, anomalies, or features that turned this coin from pocket change into a collector's dream. Let's take a closer look. The Zachary Taylor dollar coin features a bold, commanding portrait of Taylor on the obverse, his name and the years of his presidency inscribed around him. On the reverse, as with all coins in the series, is the Statue of Liberty, symbolizing the strength and enduring promise of America. Around the edge of the coin is where you'll find the inscriptions, E pluribus unum, the mint mark, the year of issue, and, In God we trust. Or at least, that's what's supposed to be there, but not all Zachary Taylor coins turned out the way they were intended. Some left the mint without any edge lettering at all, a major error known as the plain edge mistake. In other cases, collectors found double-edged lettering, where the inscriptions were struck twice and overlapped, creating a ghosted or doubled effect. Even more mysterious are the coins struck on the wrong metal planchets, like those intended for other denominations, resulting in major differences in weight, shine, and sound when dropped. But the rarest, and most valuable, of them all, that title belongs to a single coin. A coin that stunned collectors when it appeared seemingly out of nowhere. This particular Zachary Taylor dollar coin wasn't just rare, it was flawless. Graded by professional services at MS 70, the highest grade a coin can achieve, this piece had not a single scratch, blemish, or imperfection. It was like it had been frozen in time. Even more incredibly, it was missing all edge lettering, meaning it had skipped a crucial part of the minting process. This made the coin not only pristine in condition but also an official mint error, dramatically increasing its rarity and desirability. So how did such a coin escape the U.S. Mint? That remains a bit of a mystery. It's believed to have come from a sealed mint roll, one of many sold directly to collectors in 2009. Somehow, during that process, this error coin made its way into private hands, overlooked at first, until it was sent in for grading. That's when the fireworks began. When the coin was certified, graded, and confirmed to be one of a kind, its value skyrocketed. Collectors around the world took notice. This wasn't just any dollar, this was a coin with historical, collectible, and investment-grade appeal. And once it was put up for auction, the bidding war began. Now pause for a moment, because this story isn't just about history or money. It's about awareness. It's about opportunity. And it's about the possibility that you watching this right now, might be holding onto a coin like this without even knowing it. So here's what you should be looking for: a Zachary Taylor dollar coin dated 2009, missing edge lettering entirely, no inscriptions around the side, mirror-like shine, with no scratches, no wear, and razor-sharp detail, a heavier or lighter feel than other presidential dollars. A proof-like appearance but found outside an official proof set. If you think you might have something like this, don't spend it, don't clean it, and don't toss it in a drawer. Protect it, and get it graded by a reputable coin authentication service, because the difference between a regular $1 coin and one of the rarest errors in the modern numismatic world is hundreds of thousands of dollars. So now, the moment you've been waiting for, that ultra-rare, pristine, error-struck Zachary Taylor gold dollar coin, the one that passed through the mint with no edge lettering, flawless surfaces, and a history-rich tribute to a president who served only 16 months but left a lasting mark on the nation, was sold at auction for an unbelievable $300,000. Yes, you heard that right, $300,000 for a single dollar coin. And the most incredible part: that coin was discovered in an unopened roll, just like the ones many people purchased from the US Mint in 2009, stored away, and forgot. So ask yourself, could there be one in your collection? Don't wait. Check your coins. Revisit those old rolls. You might just be one discovery away from a life-changing treasure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more rare coin stories, and ring that bell so you never miss the next amazing find. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a rare error coin? Your story could inspire others and might even lead someone else to a jackpot. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of coins, history, luck, and money often go hand in hand. Keep searching, keep collecting, and stay curious. Top 14. We turn our spotlight to a coin that honors a president many people know very little about. A man who served the shortest presidency in American history, but whose name is now forever engraved on a rare piece of modern U.S. coinage. Today, we're exploring the remarkable tale behind the William Henry Harrison gold $1 coin, a small but powerful tribute to the 9th President of the United States, and the unexpected value this little coin can carry under the right conditions. Let's start with the man himself. William Henry Harrison served as president in 1841, but his time in office lasted only 31 days. Yes, just a single month. He gave the longest inaugural address in history, caught pneumonia, and tragically passed away before he could enact a single piece of legislation. Despite the brevity of his presidency, Harrison's background was rich with leadership and legacy. He was a military hero, most famous for his role in the Battle of Tippecanoe, and his campaign slogan, "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," remains iconic in U.S. political history. To honor Harrison's service, the United States Mint released a commemorative dollar coin bearing his likeness in 2009, as part of the presidential $1 coin program. Each coin in the series celebrated a U.S. president in the order they served, with Harrison's release standing as one of the most historically poignant. The William Henry Harrison dollar coin is golden in color, but not made of real gold. It is composed of a manganese brass alloy, giving it that rich, shiny golden appearance. The obverse, front, features a bold portrait of Harrison, with the inscription of his name and term, 1841. The reverse carries the majestic image of the Statue of Liberty, representing the enduring promise of American freedom. But the part that makes this coin especially interesting, it's all in the edge. Unlike most modern coins, the presidential $1 coins include edge lettering. That means the year of minting, the mint mark, and inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "E Pluribus Unum," are not on the front or back, but along the side of the coin. Now here's where it gets wild. In 2009, as these William Henry Harrison coins rolled out of the mint, something unusual happened. Some of them were struck without the edge lettering. Others had double-edge inscriptions, the lettering applied twice. A few were even struck off-center or on the wrong planchet, meaning a blank intended for a different coin entirely, and then came the discovery that sent shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. A private collector, browsing through sealed mint rolls, noticed a coin that looked slightly different. It gleamed more than the others. Its surfaces were smooth, mirror-like, and perfectly struck. When magnified, there were no scratches, no dings, and no blemishes. Not only was the edge lettering completely missing, but the coin itself looked unlike any typical Harrison dollar. He sent it in for professional grading. When it returned from the grading service, the result was clear: MS-70, mint state perfect. That means the coin was in absolute pristine condition, untouched by circulation or time. But that wasn't all. Experts began examining the strike and concluded it might have been part of a special test run, possibly an early strike or minting anomaly, something never intended to leave the mint. This wasn't just an error coin, this was a numismatic phenomenon. The collector community lit up. Collectors and investors across the country wanted to see it, own it, or even just know more about it. The coin became a legendary conversation piece at conventions, online auctions, and numismatic forums. Eventually, it was placed up for auction, and that's when things really took off. People from around the world entered the bidding. Not just collectors, but serious investors, high-end dealers, even museums. Because owning a piece like this isn't just about adding to a collection, it's about owning a once-in-a-generation piece of minting history. Now here's the best part, and listen closely: this coin didn't come from a museum vault. It didn't appear out of a treasure chest. It was found in a sealed roll purchased directly from the U.S. Mint. That's right, the person who discovered it didn't dig it up, inherit it, or buy it at an auction. They bought a roll, put it away, and years later, opened it to find a gold-colored miracle. Which brings us to you. Ask yourself, do you have any rolls of coins tucked away? Any 2009 presidential dollar sets? Have you ever looked closely at the edge of your coins? You might be surprised at what you find. And if you do come across a William Henry Harrison dollar that looks off, especially if it has no edge lettering, a flawless strike, or unusually perfect features, do not spend it. Here's what to do: keep it safe, no touching, no cleaning. Contact a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, get it authenticated. Store it in a protective holder, because that dollar coin you set aside years ago might just be the next great discovery. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, that one. Of-a-kind William Henry Harrison gold dollar coin, perfectly struck, missing edge lettering, and preserved in immaculate condition, sold at auction for an unbelievable $460,000, yes, $460,000 for a single $1 coin. Let that sink in. It's not just a coin. It's a symbol of historical value, minting mystery, and what happens when the ordinary becomes extraordinary. So don't overlook the small things. In your change jar, in that dusty drawer, in that old mint roll, something rare might be waiting. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another amazing coin story. And tell us in the comments, have you ever found an unusual dollar coin? Your story might just inspire someone else to find their hidden treasure. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and never stop looking closely at the coins in your hand. Top 15. We're diving into a story that blends American heritage, modern mystery, and one very special coin that could be hiding in your change jar, your collection, or even your pocket right now. It may look like just another golden dollar, but one version of the 2010 Sacagawea $1 coin has stunned collectors and auction houses alike, turning what most people consider pocket change into a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. What looks like a regular dollar may actually be one of the rarest modern coins ever minted. Let's start with the history. The Sacagawea dollar was first introduced by the United States Mint in the year 2000. The coin was part of an effort to bring the $1 coin back into everyday circulation, replacing the short-lived Susan B. Anthony dollar. On the front of this coin is the powerful image of Sacagawea, the young Lemhi Shoshone woman who helped guide the Lewis and Clark expedition across uncharted American territory in the early 1800s. She is shown with her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, on her back, a design that reflects courage, resilience, and the quiet strength that shaped American exploration. But in 2009, something changed. The U.S. Mint expanded the Sacagawea coin into the Native American $1 coin program, which featured new reverse designs every year to honor Native American contributions to U.S. history and culture. In 2010, the reverse design honored Native American diplomacy and trade, showing a Native American man offering a pipe during a ceremonial exchange, a powerful image representing cooperation, negotiation, and cultural respect between nations and tribes. Now, let's talk about the coin itself. The 2010 Sacagawea dollar is golden in color, though it's not made of gold. It's composed of a manganese brass alloy over a pure copper core, giving it its distinctive tone and weight. These coins were minted for both circulation and collectors, with versions struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's the twist: while most of these coins are common, a tiny number of them ended up being anything but ordinary. A small batch of 2010 Sacagawea dollars were minted with major errors. And these are the coins that today command massive attention and even more massive price tags. Let's talk about what makes them so valuable. First, some coins were found to have been struck on experimental planchets, meaning blanks that weren't meant for dollar coins at all. These planchets may have been leftovers from test batches, or even misplaced blanks meant for coins of other denominations. The result? A coin that looks, feels, and even sounds different from standard issues. Second, certain 2010 Sacagawea dollars have been discovered with proof-like surfaces, but outside of any official proof sets. That means they were struck using highly polished dies, creating mirror-like finishes, but somehow ended up in general circulation or collector rolls. These coins are considered highly desirable due to their unintended rarity. And then there are coins with edge lettering anomalies. Sacagawea dollars from this era, like their presidential dollar cousins, include edge inscriptions, such as the mint mark, year of issue, and mottos like E pluribus unum and In God We Trust. But some coins have been found missing the edge lettering entirely, while others have it doubled, inverted, or even upside down. Now picture this: a collector purchases a few sealed 2010 mint rolls when the coin is first released, not for investment, but just to add to their collection. Those rolls sit in a drawer for a few years, untouched. One day, out of curiosity, they crack one open, and something catches their eye. One coin gleams brighter than the rest. Its surfaces are flawless. The details, from Sacagawea's face to the tiny infant on her back, are razor sharp. They turn it on its side, and notice there's no edge lettering at all. That's not just a curiosity, that's a rare, certified mint error. The collector sends the coin in for grading. And the results? MS-70, mint state perfect. No blemishes. No flaws. Just a once-in-a-generation coin. That single discovery changed their life, because in the world of numismatics, it's not always the oldest coins that bring the biggest paydays, it's the rarest ones. Especially modern coins that weren't supposed to be rare, but through a mix of error, timing, and preservation, became near priceless. So what should you be looking for? If you have any 2010 Sacagawea dollars, especially uncirculated coins in rolls, collector sets, or original mint packaging, check for the following: missing edge lettering, flawless surfaces, sharp detail, no scratches, mirror shine, unusual weight or thickness, it may have been struck on a wrong planchet, incorrect edge. Inscriptions, such as double lettering or upside-down letters, proof-like appearance, even if it's not in a proof set. And here's the golden rule: don't clean your coins. Don't handle them more than necessary. And absolutely do not spend them. A coin worth tens of thousands could easily be ruined by even a small scratch or smudge. Instead, protect the coin and get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will confirm whether your coin is ordinary or extraordinary. So here we are. One little golden coin. A tribute to one of the most remarkable women in American history. A piece of circulating art meant to honor diplomacy, legacy, and exploration. And in one rare case, a life-changing discovery. And now, the part you've been waiting for: that rare, flawless, error-struck 2010 Sacagawea gold dollar, with no edge lettering and a mirror-like finish, authenticated and graded as perfect, was sold for an incredible $55,000. Yes, $55,000 for a single dollar coin. Now, ask yourself, could there be another one out there? Could it be sitting in your collection? In a forgotten drawer? In a roll that you've never opened? It might look like a simple coin, but it could be your golden ticket. That if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coin history, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss more hidden treasures. And tell us in the comments, do you have a 2010 Sacagawea dollar in your collection? You never know, your next big discovery might be closer than you think. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay sharp, and as always, keep collecting.